Hey, what's up you guys, it's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to go into chapter 37 of One of Us is Back by Karen M. McManus. We've literally got just this little bit of the book left to go, so let's get right into this video. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, I suggest you click off the video now. You have been warned. Addie, Tuesday, July 21st. I stare at the gun in Chelsea's hand and ask, "How do you know this?" "Simon Keller told me," she says. The name frays the last of my nerves. Simon? You knew him? He told you what happened then? What, you didn't say anything for 6 years? Chelsea shakes her head. I didn't know him. I met him once the summer my father died, when he was cutting through my backyard, and he didn't tell me anything back then. I got a letter with all of the details a few months ago. From my startled look, she adds, he used some kind of service that sends mail on a future date. It was dated 3 days before he died. He wrote that he was tying up loose ends. She glances behind her, where Gavin is still standing guard at the door. Gavin said the letter was someone's idea of a sick joke, but I didn't think so. There were too many details that made sense. My pulse hitches as questions spin through my brain. Jake's head is bowed now, his eyes on the floor. But why didn't Simon tell anyone what happened, I ask. Chelsea barks out a laugh. Why do you think? Jake made him promise not to. But we all know how Simon felt about street secrets, right? They have to come out eventually. Jake's head snaps up. Simon was a liar, he growls. Simon never lied. The words slip out of me before I can stop them, and I look away from Jake before I have to see what I see. I'm sure is a rage-filled reaction. But Chelsea, why didn't you tell someone as soon as you got the letter? Because it was right around the time that the whole Juror X thing exploded, she says. I knew there wasn't any point, even if I could prove the letter was from Simon. Who would care? They didn't care that Jake tried to kill you. My hand goes instinctively to my throat as she adds, you thought Jake helped Simon with his revenge plan because of you, didn't you? Because you cheated and Jake wanted to get back at you? A strangled sound comes out of me. Well, yeah, I say. He made that pretty clear. I'd come to understand that after the whole TJ nightmare that cheating was unforgivable to Jake, but I could never imagine the twisted reason why. That was part of it. But it wasn't the whole story, Chelsea says. Jake owed Simon for keeping quiet about what happened to my father. I've been avoiding Jake's eyes for a while, and now that I'm looking at him, he won't look back. I search his face anywhere, desperate for answers. Is it true? Is it real? Did Jake go all in with Simon not only because he was angry with me, but because Simon was holding on to an even bigger secret of Jake's? His clenched jaw is all the answer I need. Yes. Chelsea levels her gaze at Jake. But God, Jake, you were seriously naive for believing that Simon would stay quiet. You spent all that time with him working on a plan that would ruin the lives of everyone he hated, and it never occurred to you that he hated you too. Jake glances at Chelsea as she continues. After I read the letter, it felt like my father had died all over again. I couldn't stop watching his old ad campaigns, especially the one he'd been working on right before he died. Practice makes perfect. That was a better slogan than people realize, you know. It has so many connotations. Her voice hardens. It went over big in Bayview, where they loved to coddle boys like Jake, always practicing, always perfecting. Weren't you, Jake? She nudges his foot with hers, and he jerks away like she scaled him. But we all know what Bayview's real game is, right? She continues. Revenge. Except they keep doing it wrong. Nobody ever targets people who are actually guilty, even though this town is full of them, so I decided it was time to change that. Once Juror X surfaced, I could tell Jake was going to be released. I would have bet every cent I inherited from my father's life insurance policy on it, so Gavin and I moved to Bayview in May. The day of Jake's hearing, I used my dad's old security credentials to hack the Clarendon billboard and let everyone know that this time we're playing my rules. Practice makes perfect. Something that won't get justice for my dad and honor him. Something that would get justice for my dad and honor him step by step. Step by step, I echo. She nods. Step 1 was somebody who'd done something wrong, but not unforgivable. Someone who could learn. That was supposed to be Vanessa, but because of the way she supported him, she jerks the gun toward Jake, enabled all his worst behavior. Guys like Jake are made bit by bit, you know. And Vanessa played her part better than anyone at Bayview High, but Phoebe stole the drink I drugged from Vanessa at Nate's party after she nearly passed out in the backyard. She told me what really happened with Jared Jackson. I blinked confused. Huh? What do you mean? Chelsea cocks her head. Phoebe didn't tell you. how her brother stepped in for Emma and kept the truth or dare game going until Brandon died. She'd been covering for him all this time. My jaw drops at the revelation and Chelsea snorts out a mirthless laugh. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. She's a great liar until her defenses are down. Once the drugs kicked in, she couldn't shut up. I listened to her, all her pathetic justifications. I made a spur-of-the-moment swap from Vanessa to Phoebe. Phoebe, Owen. Oh my god, no wonder she's been a wreck all summer. I'm desperate to know more, but the last thing I want is to make Chelsea any angrier at Phoebe than she already is. I swallow my question and ask, what about Reggie? A spasm of something like angry regret crosses Chelsea's face. Reggie had no problem telling the world that Jake was a good guy. Even after everything he did to you and your friends and to Simon, he was always pretty cool to me, she says, and in a way that makes it clear she, too, has memorized the Bayview Blade article. Jake, who's been uncharacteristically quiet all this time, gives a smirk that Chelsea fortunately doesn't catch. Plus, Reggie was disgusting predator, she continues. I saw Katrina Lott's TikTok. Just like everybody else who ever lived in Bayview, the comments made it clear he hadn't changed, and I knew he never would unless he got the scare of his life. Her voice drops lower. He wasn't supposed to die, though. That was an accident. Jake, on the other hand, panic flooded my veins, and I tried to tamp it down. The most frightening thing about Chelsea is how calm she is, and how absolutely sure of herself. If I could put even the tiniest dent in that confidence, maybe there's a way to get everyone out of here alive. Chelsea, this is horrible, and I understand why you're so angry, but Jake was just a kid when his father, not his actual father, I think, but she'll know what I mean, killed yours. I'm sure Jake would have stopped it if he felt like he could. He must have been terrified. Really, Addie? Chelsea asked, her voice dipping with scorn. After everything he's done to you, that's your response? Time for a new tack, especially since she's making a fair point. If I think about that for too long, it'll be harder to do the right thing. But you said that this is about getting revenge the proper way, targeting people who are actually guilty. I say, so why are you going after Jake instead of Scott Rordian? Of course, it's a horrible punishment for Scott to lose the son he killed Alexander Alton to keep, but it doesn't seem fitting. Even though I haven't known this version of Chelsea for very long, that strikes me as sort of a distinction that she'd care about. Chelsea's lips curve into a half smile I've come to dread. It's as though she's been waiting for me to ask that question, and she's pleased that I finally got there, because I haven't told you about the rest of the letter, she says. That wasn't all that Simon said. That is the end of this chapter. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.